What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I am here with Anthony, Lori, and Mike. And we are back after an extended hiatus. Thank you, bronchitis and pneumonia. I have been unable to record for the last 3 weeks, but we are back and we are discussing season 1 of X-Men 97. And we actually got several requests to cover this show. We're gonna talk about the entire first season. And I don't know how this. I'm gonna put it like this. I don't know how this recording is gonna go. We talked about discussing the whole season in one episode, but it's a lot to discuss. So this may be just one long episode. We may end up doing a two-parter. We're just gonna go with the flow and see where it takes us. But the first thing I want to address is the fact that when we scheduled this recording tonight, it's Wednesday. The season finale came out today. I specifically asked everyone, hey, are you going to have a chance to watch the season finale before we record so we could talk about all the episodes? Everybody said yes. Guess who didn't watch the last episode? The main X-Men nut, Lori.
I had to get ibuprofen for my arthritic knee.
I watched it at work. You have no excuse.
I couldn't watch it at work because work has been really, 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 really busy. But I went on Wiki. I know what happens.
Wiki is not the same. Haven't you ever heard that Wiki is an unreliable source? And also, you can't have the reactions that I had watching this damn episode.
Lori, that's wiki whack.
Fine, whatever.
Okay.
Hi guys, glad to be back.
I know.
Sprained my knee, arthritis. I couldn't walk. I was on meds.
So we just all been going through some stuff.
Yes, exactly.
Lori and I.
Changes.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get this discussion started. Like I said, we are not going in any particular order. We're just going to talk because there's a lot to talk about with this show. First thing I want to find out is from my comic book people, because again, I've read like some X-Men when I was a child. That was like 40 years ago. Don't remember much. So I'm going strictly from show stuff, show knowledge. My comic book people, how did you feel about the stories that they brought to this particular show? And just like, what was your overall thought?
All right. First of all, I have never been more excited to watch a cartoon than I was to watch after watching the first episode. It's like I gotta admit, I was kind of skeptical about this whole series. I was like, oh, whatever, I could take it or leave it. But after watching the first part in the first episode where they actually made Cyclops instead of making him a whiny bitch like he's been in like the cartoon and the movies, actually making him like use his optic blast defensively and offensively.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the first episode, they pretty much said, all right, this is not the Cyclops y'all grew up with. This is different. And that shit was crazy. I was like, okay. And also, Disney Plus, how dare you put skip intro at the beginning of the damn episode? And nobody's skipping that fucking intro.
No.
Absolutely not. Mm-mm. Absolutely the fuck not. Especially when y'all put Easter eggs in the intro. Like there are Easter eggs in every intro was different. All 10 intros were different, and they had different things going on with them. So it's like, why would I skip it and miss something that you obviously want me to see because it's different? I'm like, you have lost your ever-loving mind. But as far as like comic accuracy, I loved it. I love how they did Morph. Morph was my favorite character because he was basically every woman. It was all in him, and besides the fact that he was. I'm sorry. They were. I'm pretty sure his pronouns have to be they and them.
I think I heard them refer.
Yeah, I think
I think I heard that in one of the episodes.
they were just, I mean, incredible. Like, I mean, they just showed out. I was very impressed with that. Um, they and the writers kind of threw everybody a curveball because I heard a whole lot of people, and me and Anthony were talking about it, and he said it too. After episode 9, everybody thought that Charles was going to become Onslaught, and it's not too late for them to do it. But well, I think a whole lot of people thought they were going to do that in episode 10 and make that the big bad for next year. But of course, it's probably going to be 2 or 3 different versions of Apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I can't wait for that.
Overall, I love this shit. This is probably the best thing that Marvel's put out this year, easily.
Okay.
Think,
oh, go ahead, Lori. Go ahead.
I think that watching the original X-Men series from the 90s, it's always been like a very high standard. I was listening to something, reading something, and they said that the original X-Men series was the number 6 top animated series ever made. Okay.
Okay.
So when they first got it, I was like, oh, okay. Watch the first episode. Watch the second episode. Okay. And then the way they did certain characters. The fact that we had Wolverine and they gave Wolverine enough, but he wasn't overpowering, because a lot of X-Men stories, they have a tendency to overuse Wolverine. They used him just enough. The fact that we got all the greatest hits, the fact that we got everything and above that I could have possibly have wanted, wished, bucket list. I mean, when I say this thing was cooking with grease on gas or whatever the saying is, this thing was phenomenal. The animation, the voice acting, the characters, the way that they had the characters, just everything. And I will say this: the showrunner that got fired. Why? What did he do? He did, according to what I'm seeing, he did nothing wrong. So there's got to be other stuff. But honestly, this was so good. I did not want it to end. And what I'm going to do on Saturday is I'm going to get my little drink, whatever I'm going to have. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch the entire thing all in one sitting, because you have to. This is a movie, guys. Okay. This was perfect. I mean, this was everything. I'm so happy right now. I don't even want to go back and finish watching Invincible. That's how good this is. Okay. This is perfect. That's all I got.
And you haven't even seen the last episode yet.
Exactly. Hey, I'm still recovering for episode 5, okay? That's all I'm saying.
All right, Anthony, go ahead and shit on it. I know you want to. I can see it in your eyes. I see it in your eyes, Anthony. Just go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, let's start with the positives first.
I'm impressed you're doing that, please.
I enjoyed it. It was fun. I will say this: nostalgia is a hell of a drug. It will make you overlook all the bad things. It'll make you overlook all the terrible things. Nostalgia is amazing. It was great seeing all these characters once again from 1995, whenever it was on. And, you know, back then, that cartoon was amazing. And Lori was right. It's one of the top, you know, animated series ever. Like, it was incredible. I don't know. It's very hard for me to separate the nostalgia from the critique. Like, yeah, it was cool seeing all this stuff, but I don't know. Was it really that good? Like, not the original one, but X-Men 97.
Okay.
So it was, I guess in the end, I was like, oh, there's some really cool moments, some really cool characters, but just like the original, they took stories that were happening in the comic books, kind of condensed them and kind of paraphrased. And this is what they did here. They kind of condensed things and kind of paraphrased, sort of the same type of writing. Yeah, they made Cyclops look awesome again because that's how he is in the comic books. He is incredible. He's awesome. I don't know what they did with him in the movies. No hate on James Marsden, but
yeah, it was
hate on the
definitely
writers.
not
Oh,
his
don't hate
fault.
on James Marsden. Hate on the
it
writers.
was his fault.
No, it
That's what I
wasn't.
said. No fault of his own.
Yeah.
It was not his fault. So no hating
Right.
on him, but it was his
Writers.
written. Yeah, that was not Cyclops. Whatever that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Cyclops again. We sort of got Storm, and I understand a lot of what they were doing was, once again, you're dealing with, Magneto, Storm. Between Magneto and Storm, there isn't much you can take care of. I mean, they are Omega level mutants.
Mm-hmm.
We were going back. Lori had asked about Omega level mutants in our group chat not too long ago, and I'm going to tell her, like, one of the unofficial standards is they're planet killers. Like, that one person can wipe out all life on one planet if they wanted to.
Yeah, I went back and I looked that up because, like I said, I did go in the chat and you were very helpful. But yeah, because I'm sitting there going, I don't remember them tagging these people as Alpha and Omega level. What did I miss?
No, it was Omega and Sigma and one. I can't remember what the other ones were, but the Omega level ones are. There's no one that does their one thing better than they do. And at a superhuman level, they can obliterate entire planets. And we see Magneto do it a couple of times, reversing the magnetic poles, shutting everything down. I mean, he's a walking problem. Storm can control the weather on any planet she's on in the universe. She's a problem. So yeah, there aren't many. There's just a handful. But my point is, it was just okay. Like, it was kind of cool seeing Forge again and seeing all the characters in the background. I was like, yay, T'Chaka, whoop-de-doo. So,
My God.
After the first few episodes, I'm like, Hanako, Mojo World, I just like, oh, come on, guys, what are we doing?
Stop.
What are we doing? Either Longshot is going to be in it, Longshot and Shatterstar. If you're not going to do it, why are we on Mojo World?
I actually agree with that.
Why are we there? Why did we even bother? Oh, look, Jubilee is actually kind of cool. But, we don't really get a payoff on that because she's still Jubilee. I don't know. I had some issues with it, but overall, I enjoyed it. It was okay. I think a lot of us in our generation are blinded by nostalgia because, at that age when it was on, we weren't looking at it critically. We were just excited because it was the X-Men cartoon. But now that we have seen and consumed so much, and now that we know so much about things, and we have the world at our fingertips, and we sit on this podcast in judgment of media, which is what we do, I can't help but sit in judgment of X-Men 97. I'm like, it was okay. Like, it was okay. Cable didn't give me what I wanted. Bishop didn't give me what I wanted. I didn't see Shatterstar. Longshot was a bust. I was just like, what are we doing?
Okay, look.
And that's it. And then, I don't know. Okay, so I want to say this real quick about the introduction. I bet you there's a person who's an analyst at Disney Plus was like, hey, did you guys know that people always skip the intros? They're like, yeah. Hey, what if you did something where they learn not to skip the intros? Then everyone talks about it. Then everyone has to go back and guess what? Watch the show again. And all of a sudden, the numbers get boosted because people who have to go back and watch it all over again because they missed the intro. Oh, I started it. I might as well finish it. So you watching the episode. Oh, we got missed it. I got to go back and watch it again. Oh, did you see the people charging? They had changed into. Mike just did the yawn signal. So I'm gonna shut it down.
No, you got to shut it down.
You know what,
I want
Mike?
you to continue.
You know what, Mike?
I want you. No.
I got you. I got you, bruh.
I insist. No, continue.
I got you,
Because
bruh.
I'm
Anyone
listening
who
to
went
you.
back and watched the intros over and over again was a sucker to Disney's algorithm. And now you make it look like, oh, it was such a big hit because 20 people watched it 60 times over and over and over again. And that's all I'm going to say.
No, okay, I agree, but I mean, if these people are going to be simpletons and not watch the intro all the way through, then that's on them. And I can't.
How
I hate to
important is the
say it.
I
freaking
don't.
I was
I
intro?
one
never
of
skip
those
intros.
simpletons.
Okay,
That's why
intro.
I never
How
skip intros.
in,
I never skip intros
in
I
because
went
of shit
frame
every
like
by
this.
frame.
hold on. In every intro, there was Cable and Apocalypse fighting each other. Did that
And
happen?
Nimrod.
Did that happen in this show?
No.
No.
So what was the point of that?
It was to bring nostalgia because if I'm remembering
Nostalgia.
correctly, Nimrod and Apocalypse were in the first one, right?
So be it. What is
Ignore.
Michelle saying in the
What'd she
background?
say?
No,
What'd
she
she say?
chose not to be on here so she can keep her opinions to herself over there in the peanut gallery. I'm muting now.
Okay, so
Oh,
I agree with all that, but since you said it, I'm gonna do the rest of this podcast with my glasses off because I am blinded by nostalgia and I can't
Lord.
really see out. So I'm gonna put my glasses right back on, so I can't really do that this soon. But I'll admit, okay, first of all, everybody knows if you listen to this podcast or if you're part of this podcast, you know that I am your friendly neighborhood Marvel apologist. I basically love 95 to 97% of everything that Marvel puts out. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad. Well, okay, it doesn't matter if it's bad because Madam Web was trash. But I digressed. Look,
Was not Marvel though, was it? Madam Web is
No, it wasn't.
Sony.
It
okay,
was
so
Sony.
Sony, I lumped them all together.
No,
So
it was Marvel adjacent, even though she's a
it was
major.
Marvel adjacent.
Yeah, yeah. I can't even bring
Okay,
myself to
but
Marvel
watch
had
that.
nothing to do with
It's
Madam
being
Web.
released on Netflix and not Disney Plus. It is not Marvel.
It had nothing to
and it,
do with Disney
so
Marvel.
okay,
Nothing.
so
I
I'm
will
Marvel
watch
apologist.
it.
I like everything, including She-Hulk, which I still owe this guy an argument about. I still love Miss Marvel and the Marvels, and I am fully Marvel blinded by nostalgia, and I'll accept that, and I'll fully admit it. And I still love everything about this, even though Anthony did make some very valid points about the continuity, and I do agree that Bishop wasn't in it. If you're gonna tease Bishop being in it, but have him only be in the first two episodes and the last first post credit scene, then that's kind of messed up. And if you're gonna have Cable in it, you have Cable in it instead of having him be a puppet at the end of one episode and have his arm torn off and get slapped with it in the final episode. That's not Cable.
That
I
shit was
agree.
horrible.
But that's not who Cable is. Cable is one of the baddest characters in the Marvel universe. Period. Like he's a badass. He's not one who should be shown as a puppet or somebody who can get beaten by his own arm. Like I agree. Yeah, that was I kind of felt a little ways about that too. But go ahead. But Hanako, but since did you watch the first ones?
I did not. And
Ah,
that's what I was gonna say. So I filed kind of like in between everyone's opinion because I don't have the nostalgia attached to it because I did not watch the 95 series or the 96 series because I literally had just gotten married and had just had a baby. So I was in full mother mode. I was busy working. So I never got into it. So I went into this new series, kind of like you said, Mike, when you first heard about it, you were like, I can watch it. I cannot watch it. It won't make a difference to me. I decided to watch it because everybody was asking if we were going to cover it on the show. And I know you wanted to cover it. So I was like, okay, well, let me take a look at it. These are characters that I'm familiar with for the most part. So I will say this, watching the first few episodes was a little weird for me because I really wasn't feeling it. And I don't know if it has to do with the older animation style, because again, that was right around the time I was like, quote unquote, becoming an adult at that time. So I like literally I was watching no TV, no fandom type stuff of that nature back then. So I don't know. It's something about the dialogue was throwing me off. The dialogue felt really awkward to me. It felt kind of clunky, like the
to me, my X-Men.
Yes, that sort of thing. Like the one-liners and the jokes just kind of, they felt very cringy. They were very dad jokey, like I don't sure which is why I know you love it. But it just the first few episodes, aside from I get to see this person and okay, I remember this character, that sort of thing. It just wasn't really vibing with me. And then I was like, okay, well, it's not a bad show. I was like, okay, maybe I just don't have the nostalgia like other people. And again, also, since you brought up James Marsden and Cyclops, I literally, a few weeks ago while I was sick, decided to start watching the X-Men movies over from the beginning because it's been so long since I've seen them. And so there were other things that I was thinking about, like comparing from what I remember in the comics and the movies and then this. And I was like, okay, one, the whole "you are the love of my life" thing with Wolverine and Jean Grey, I never got that. I've never understood like how it is, like, especially in the movies. Like, you met her twice and you tried to kill her the first time, and now all of a sudden you are like so over the top in love with her. I never understood that. But also in the movies, Scott and Jean didn't make sense to me either, because they had no chemistry. They had no chemistry.
You know what?
Chemistry. And I still felt like that watching the first couple of episodes of X-Men 97, because it just, I don't know, for some reason, Scott and Jean just don't click to me. Like, here in this one, I see her and Wolverine a little bit more. Like, I kind of get it a little bit more, but it just, I don't know. It's just
okay. Here's the thing. It's
weird.
Like in the live action, it seemed like Famke Johnson and James Marsden seemed like Jane. He was so much younger than her. Like, even though it seemed like she was like 45 and he was like 18.
Oh my gosh, no, it did not. It did.
To me, it did. I'm saying personally, she seemed like she was okay. Maybe she seemed more mature.
Yeah,
she seemed way
say
out
it
of
like
his
that, because when you put an age to it, it's almost like you're saying that she looks older, and that's kind of an insult.
Oh no, I'm not. Okay. I'm saying that I'm saying that even though she wasn't old, she looked more mature. She looked more mature.
She carried herself in a more serious way. Whereas, and I will say this too, Scott has never really been one of my favorite characters, because I felt like he was too serious, and he was especially in this show, is like he took the responsibility of taking over for the X-Men and for Professor Xavier. I just felt like he was a little over the top, and it just felt a wee bit narcissistic and egocentric to me.
Well,
Scott's been.
You got Scott. Sorry, you got Scott. Okay, again, this is from the comic books. The Scott that we see in this series is the Scott that eventually becomes the leader of the Brotherhood. Okay, we get the Scott that is going from clean cut, follow the rules Scott to for lack of a better word, the terrorist, I'm using quotes here, the freedom fighter, the rebel leader, Scott Summers. Mm-hmm. He's had enough. You saw the episode where he was telling the reporter, "You should be glad that we're here."
Yeah.
He actually shifts, and he goes from being clean cut, Boy Scout, to I'm going to carry out a jihad.
And you know what? I think maybe not to that extreme, but I think that's one of the things that I did like about the show, was because you do see differences in the characters from what we've been given in live action.
Yeah.
And I do think that the characters are a little more complex in this show, which I appreciated, because again, at the start, I was not feeling Scott. I was just like, okay, I just really don't like this character. And then the more I see him interact with Jean, the more I see him kind of, I understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to continue the way that Charles tried to maneuver this mutant and human conflict. Okay. And I think that's part of the problem that I have, because if it's one thing I've always said in the movies, I felt like I understood where Charles was coming from, but I felt like he had too much tunnel vision when it came to his mission, and he was not looking at anything else. And you really see it in this series. Like, he is so focused on saving humanity, that it almost feels like he really is ignoring what is happening to his own people, to the point where it gets to, it's not necessarily a black or white thing. Like, all of these characters kind of have these shades of gray. And it's like, when we were growing up, you have a good guy and you have a bad guy. And that's just literally how it is. And with this show, you kind of see that you really can't be strictly one side, strictly the other. And like with Charles Xavier, his focus was saving mankind, doing good, trying to I'm trying to think of how I want to say this. Like, the mutants are powerful, but we can't be dominant. We can't have the mindset that we want to eliminate the world. And I hate to say it, I appreciate Magneto in this one, because he was never about domination until the humans started showing their ass. And he was just like, look, I need to make sure that our people are protected. And when you see everything that he has gone through and everything that he is trying to say, he's trying to tell you, look, they don't care about us. They don't respect us. They don't fear us. And eventually that's going to cause a problem. They're going to do whatever they need to do to eliminate us. And everybody's steady telling him, you're the bad guy. I mean, they had a fucking Magneto protocol in the White House because they feared him so much. And I was like, are you guys not paying attention that the only time Magneto goes off is when the humans are doing something horrible to the mutants? So as the series started getting further into the episodes, I started appreciating it more, because the storytelling was getting a little more complex. You know what I'm saying? Again, like Anthony mentioned it, we hadn't mentioned it on the show, but we've had many conversations. That whole video game episode, I could have done without it. Like, I could have done without it. I could have done without Roberto's character. I could have done without Sunspot. To me, he brought nothing to this show.
Okay. He's pretty prominent in X-Force later on down the line.
And I get that. I remember him from X-Force. I remember that. But for this show, it didn't do anything for me. I was just like, that was a waste of an episode. Y'all could have given. Hold on, Mike. Let me finish. It was really like, y'all could have given us something else to forward the other part of the story, as opposed to this character, because literally this character comes in, he doesn't even admit he's a mutant, then he can't have to use his powers, and then all of a sudden at the end he's like, he's holding his own with Bastion. Really? It just, his character, I could have done without. Some of the other stuff, I loved it. I love the relationships that you see with the characters. I love seeing the sisterhood with Jean and Storm in this, because you don't really get that in the movies. You know, again, live action, they were trying to do some things. X-Men was like one of the big and one of the first like really superhero like trilogies that we were getting at that time. So I know they were trying to, build up and get people into it, but I felt like they really did not focus on the relationships that they really needed to in the live action. And you get to see it a little bit more here which again enhances the story, makes it more complex, especially in this last episode. Like all of that dialogue between Charles and Magneto, you really get to understand how it is that these two people who are on polar opposite ends of what they think mutant and human relations should be, why they keep being drawn to each other, why they keep, even after they've tried to kill each other, literally, why they still have each other's backs. I appreciated that with this series. But kind of like Anthony, there were certain things about it that I loved. This last episode, all of the fucking cameos, I was sitting there like, oh, when Jean came out of that water as the Phoenix, oh my God, I was like, yes, this is what I remember reading in the comics, like her being the Phoenix and it being right. But there were other things that I was just kind of like, people were like, oh my God, this is the greatest and blah, blah, blah. And there was some episodes where I was just like, it's okay. But it's not like, oh my God, I have to watch it. And I didn't feel like that for part of the season. But I mean, I enjoyed it overall. Like I said, the last few episodes I loved, but I also liked the surprises. And I think the surprises were what drew me in. Gambit being killed, I was not expecting that. Like, that was the first really emotional reaction I had to the show, because I think I was watching it, and then Mike had messaged me and he was like, are you at the end? And it literally had just happened, and I cried. I posted a picture of it, and I was just like, oh, okay, so this is where it starts getting good. Finding out that Cable is Jean and Scott's son, that's something I had never heard. Like, even, and again, I did not read a lot of the comics as a kid, so I would not have even, and I don't think I would have remembered that even if I did, but finding out that, and
Madeline's son.
Well, excuse me. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, Scott and Madeline's son. But just even finding out that,
I mean, technically she's right.
Technically, no.
Gray area.
But finding out that thing, like I said, I'm sorry, Rogue taking Captain America's shield and just yeeting it out the cars. That shit
petty,
was funny.
So fucking petty. Oh,
that was
how
funny.
long did it take him to find it? That's what I want to know.
He still didn't find it. You saw him. He was in the Oval Office and he still didn't have it.
Yeah, no, he had it in the Oval Office. He had it in.
Okay, I was fucking,
yeah.
But yeah.
So
he just looked at
him and Iron Man, and seeing
Cloak and Dagger, Daredevil.
Fucking Cloak and Dagger.
Okay, I was trying to figure out. I was like, I know who those characters are, but I didn't watch the show when it came out. My son watched it. So seeing all of these characters just kind of pop up and even morph, turning into some of the characters, like him turning in, them turning into
he turned into the Hulk. He turned into
Reed Richards.
Fantastic. Richards, and
I was like, wait, what?
All of that stuff. I was sitting here, I was giddy because I was like, oh, I remember these characters. This is fun.
He turned into Juggernaut. He turned into. I was like,
I blinked and was like, the Hulk. When did he get here? Oh wait, no, that's Morph.
So, and seeing all these other things, like the board at the end when Forge had the names of who was presumed dead, and you see Scarlet Witch and he's like off world, and I was like, oh, okay. So I like seeing those little things thrown in. I like this version of Rogue way better than what they did with her in the live action. Like, I was like, where was this Rogue? Where was
the live action Rogue is the younger Rogue. You can't compare them, because the younger Rogue, the Rogue in the live action hadn't even met Gambit yet, so you can't even see. You can't. They're not comparable. They're not
well, even in the movie, even in the live action, she wasn't comparable to young Rogue, because
that's true.
Young Rogue was a villain. So
there were things that I loved. Those were the things I loved. The things that kind of weirded me out. The whole relationship between Magneto and Rogue, that was creepy to me. I was just like, grooming much?
Much.
Like,
Nah,
ooh, okay.
a lot.
Much.
Grooming a lot.
That was
And
a bit
and
much.
and their whole, okay. So they did a little bit with Madeline, which became the Goblin Queen when she had on her latex, whatever outfit she had on, sitting in her throne. And then they kind of did the same thing with Magneto. Like, what are we doing here? They had Magneto all strapped up in a bikini bottom. I mean,
So can I tell y'all I've already seen somebody who has done
I've
that
seen I've
cosplay.
seen that cosplay. Yes, it
Yeah.
came across my timeline. I was like, this is not. Wait, what?
You know we're
I
gonna
mean,
see that a lot at Dragon Con, right?
oh
We're
yeah.
gonna see
There
that a
gonna be
lot.
there gonna be people pushing around big X's, and someone's gonna be hung on the cross. But okay, so here's my thing. Um, the thing about Sunspot is basically Jubilee. Is the way Sunspot is in this is the way Jubilee was in the original one. She's the newbie, the youngin that doesn't accept their powers, doesn't want to be there, gets in trouble, not accepted by anybody, but eventually comes around and proves to be valuable. That's who Sunspot's supposed to be. Then
And I get it. I still didn't care for the character. I was like, I could really do without him.
I think I mean he's going to come up like Laurie said. He's going to be more pertinent in X Force than anything, but he's a very powerful mutant, so he's going to be featured more prominently down the line.
I know. I mean, like I said, I remember him from the comics, but just in this show, it just didn't do anything for me.
I mean, he
And
was a little
like
snot.
I would have much more preferred if they shouldn't have done the Mojo World episode. They could have done an episode about Sunspot or Roberto da Costa and what's going on with his life. Like do an episode focused on him more than an episode focused on Jubilee.
They should have just made it a whole episode on Storm getting her powers back and fighting the owl.
Yes, I will say
that if they would have done that whole thing as an episode, I would have preferred that. But I mean, it did make me nostalgic for my Super Nintendo. But I digress. So,
but they did a good job of keeping the Omega level mutants out of the game. Like your depower Storm, Professor X. He's not Omega level, but he's off world. And Magneto, I don't know. I don't know what was going on with him most of the time, but writers have this difficult thing, especially in the comic books, when you have these extremely powerful characters. It's very difficult to tell a story with a bad guy that's trying to do something. And like at any point in time, Magneto could have just been like, Bastion, I'm done with you, and be done with it. We wouldn't have had a show.
Yeah.
Storm could just electrical storms all over the planet. Sentinels, bad. You saw what she did to the Sentinels in the first episode. I mean, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So, but
I don't know what I was trying to say.
You have to have a show. You got to have a show. It's like you can't.
Cable
like you said,
is Omega level.
Is Cable the Omega level?
He was he's
if he's not, he's damn close. He's pretty.
But he is if he would be if it wasn't for the techno-organic virus.
Okay.
He is now in the comic book because now he's not using his majority of his powers to keep it at bay anymore.
Okay.
So he for all intents and purposes has been cured. But we did have a version of him, Nate Gray, which was him from the Age of Apocalypse timeline, who came over to the Earth 616 or whatever. Yeah, he was Omega level.
Okay.
Yeah. The thing is, it's like, see, we haven't even really scratched the surface of Scott's kids, because Scott has kids all over the universe, and they're all either Omega level or damn near Omega level mutants.
He don't have kids all over the universe.
He got kids all over the fucking universe. He's basically Nick. He's basically Nick Cannon on this bitch.
This is 2, maybe 3, I guess.
Oh, okay. Just 2 or just 3 Omega. He's just 2, 3 Omega level spawns just roaming the universe.
Well, one is just from a different timeline, and the other other one is a clone, and one is a clone of the clone, and the other one is some concoction that an alternate timeline Sinister put together.
Mm-hmm.
That would
Is
be
Vulcan his
four.
son?
Huh?
Is Vulcan his son?
No, that's his brother.
That's his
That's
brother.
their younger brother.
Okay.
Gabriel?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's their younger brother.
Okay. So what I also wanted to say is
His
that
mom was pregnant when her and, of course, Christopher, when they were kidnapped,
okay.
and
I couldn't
she gave
remember
birth to Gabriel.
at the whole MAGA wedding MAGA space wedding shit that they had with the Shi'ar. I forgot the whole I couldn't even remember like who was what. But I'm going to talk about that in a second. But
Okay.
the point I want to make before that is like the way when you said that the way that Magneto and Xavier were talking, it's like they really played up the whole Malcolm and Martin thing with him. It's like you could really feel it the way that they did it in this
Yeah.
series. Like
Yeah.
you could feel like Magneto being about that action and Xavier trying to be peaceful. And it's like you felt it and you kind of felt how like people can really see that, that sometimes force is the only answer. So yeah, I mean they really played into that. Like
Yeah,
heavily.
because it's like you have Charles Xavier throughout this whole time, and he's basically about saving humanity and doing the right thing and blah 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 blah. And then when Magneto decides, okay, you know what? I'm tired of this shit. They killed everybody in Genosha. I'm about to fuck some shit up. Now you want to come back and you want to try to lecture him. Your ass ain't even been here. They thought you were dead. You was off living your very best happy life with the Shi'ar, not even thinking about what you left behind. First of all, you told Scott he would be the one to lead the X-Men, and then you will everything to Magneto. You didn't think that was going to cause some problems? And then when you do come back after everything has fallen apart, after all of these mutants have been killed and your school has been destroyed and some of your X-Men have been killed or injured severely and that sort of thing, then you want to come back and still try to talk that same talk. But then when you can't get through to Magneto, you're going to force the issue by violating his mind to the point where you're like, oh yeah, I realize that this might destroy both of us and it might kill both of us, but oh well, I gotta make him see. What? When Magneto was like, this is a violation, it damn sure is. And I was just like, wow. I've always loved Charles Xavier, but this episode,
So
last episode, I was just like,
I'm adding Charles Xavier to the bad parents list.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Adding him.
Yes.
See, not only that, the X-Men are essentially the world's best super soap opera. If there's not drama, it's not good. And that's nothing but drama with Charles. But see, there's a t-shirt going around and saying that Magneto is right.
Yeah.
But the problem with Charles is that Charles doesn't see the X-Men as family as Magneto does. He sees them as students, as props, as objects. So when he was with Leandra and he was like, they were dancing, singing, they were making love, and he's like, I'm here and they're there. His mind brought up the school, the classroom. Mm-hmm. He's never seen them as anything more than objects to do his bidding, whereas Magneto, feelings. This is family. This is our people. This is our race. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's the thing that they really hit in this season. But the thing is, all through the movies, you didn't get a good, clear picture because it's always, oh, Magneto. But Magneto isn't entirely wrong. Charles is not entirely right. But see, the thing that I like about this season is that you got to see really and truly what Magneto was trying to do. Like you said, they don't poke the bear. Charles What did he do? First thing he did, he went to the White House to talk to President Kelly. No, that's like somebody going to the enemy and saying, holding their hand in their hand, saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, we caused a little bit of problem. We won't do it next time, but maybe you can help us out at the end a little bit." He was kissing ass, and he was doing it because of his precious humanity. Okay, and Bastion and Mr. Sinister, they all just took advantage of the situation. Okay,
and I think that's the thing that really bothered me, because it's like you have these, like, again, talking about live action and talking about the cartoon, because again, those are the things I'm more familiar with. The live action they did, I feel like, paint Magneto as more of a villain. Like, yes, he wanted to protect his mutants, his fellow mutants, but he also just hated humanity just to hate humanity, I feel like. And he was more evil, I think, in there. In this version of his story, he is a little more nuanced. He does have a little bit more, I feel like he has a little more balance. Because when he finds out that he is bequeathed the school, he actually does try to say, okay, let me do this Charles's way. The other Magneto would have never done that. This one here, he was like, okay, let me be someone who can lead these X-Men, his X-Men, my X-Men. Let me be someone who can lead them. Let me be someone who can be an example. Let me show these humans that even though you have this view of me, I can be a different person. He was at least willing to do that. And again, and again, and again, the humans show that same thing they do in real life, that we can be assholes when it comes to how we treat people who are different from us. And Magneto just basically was like, okay, you know what? Fuck that. But the thing is, he kept turning the other cheek up until they set foot and did the shit on Genosha. And even though that wasn't all humans, it was just the little blonde bitch, what was her name? Dr. Connolly, who was working with, what's his name? But still,
Dr. Cooper.
Dr. Cooper. But still, it's like, like you said, Laura, you keep poking and you keep poking and you keep poking, and you want to keep poking Magneto for what? You saw what happened when he got out of his captivity. This dude knocked out the electricity in the whole fucking planet. I didn't even know Magneto could do that.
Oh,
and
he
I was
could do
just
that
sitting there
much
like,
more.
He did that.
Yeah,
Much
he
more.
scratched
more.
the surface.
And I'm still not convinced that Val Cooper isn't Mystique, because I was waiting
I'm not
for her
either.
ass and she didn't
I'm
show
still
up.
thinking that too.
That's Mystique.
Even though I think she would have escaped if she was Mystique. If she would have already tried to escape from, but I thought that too. I thought she was going to escape. That she was Mystique at first.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. Especially when she found out that her daughter Rogue was messed up. You know, I mean, her brother was there, but still, you know, those are her kids. But yeah, no, that was
a fact I forgot about until this show, and I was like, oh wait, yeah, I forgot about that. But the whole thing with, again, poking the bear with Magneto, I gotta go this way too. What he did to Wolverine,
straight out the comic book.
Exactly.
But my thing is, and y'all know how I am, I try not, when we're going to discuss something, I try not to listen to like other podcasters, other content. I try not to listen to any of that noise because I don't want it bleeding into my thoughts. But I got to say this because I was thinking this and I kept seeing people saying, why the fuck are you bringing a knife to a gunfight? Why do y'all keep bringing Wolverine to fight around Magneto? And Wolverine, like, I understand you are badass and you have no fear.
You could thank Jim Lee for that. That was a Jim Lee thing with the whole skeleton thing.
Well, look at like this.
Because they, at some level, everyone understood that Magneto is not heartless. Like, he would do a lot of things. He might throw them around, but he would never do exactly that.
Yeah, but you're talking to a person who is pissed because his people literally wiped out.
Again, like Lori said, a writer finally said, what if Magneto really felt like he was going to die? Like he was backed into a corner, and Wolverine was there, and Wolverine being probably the only person who would actually kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he would do whatever he could because Wolverine's not going to stop.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
the man can lose body
that,
parts and keep coming at you.
Right.
So yeah, that would be something he would do if backed into a corner, and that's what happened.
Right.
And they did a good job of showing that. He literally put his knives through Magneto trying to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, you're not going to do this.
And again, I sat there and I was watching it, and as horrified as it was, like I literally have Wolverine on my shirt right now. As horrified as I was, like, oh fuck, what did I just watch? I was just kind of like, but he kind of sort of deserved it.
Yeah. If you think about it, it's no one. Scott would never let Wolverine do anything like that.
No.
Like he wouldn't allow him to do it. Professor X wouldn't allow him to do it. He did this. This was sort of out of character. Like he made a conscious decision. I'm going to kill him.
But then Xavier was sitting here. Magnus, stop, dude. Why don't you tell your ex? You can control. Look, you can control Wolverine as opposed to Magneto when he has the helmet on. And say, why don't you fucking tell Wolverine to stop? Like he's literally making the situation worse.
But the other problem. Hold on. The other problem is like Magneto being who he is and as powerful as he is. It doesn't really matter because he could literally stop people's circulation. Like he could kill anyone at any time when he wanted to. So okay, yeah, he did this Wolverine, but it had to be in an extreme situation because at any point in time, if he wanted you to have a stroke, you could. Like he could say, you know what? Well, I'm just going to stop the blood flow to your head.
Right.
I mean, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
And being on Asteroid M, I mean, that's the base, that's his thing. But see, the only issue that I had with that whole power dynamic is that they gave some powers to some of the X-Men that to me seemed like it was a little bit more than it should have been. I mean, I love Gambit, okay? But Gambit was way superpowered than he should have been in episode 5. Same thing with Morph. When Morph became the Hulk, same thing. Because then that's taking him out of mimicking an X-Men to mimicking a regular superhero. And I thought, okay, well, I have a little issue with that. But the Magneto thing is not only was Magneto about to die with Wolverine, Magneto was also very, very upset because when Charles goes in, that's why he has the helmet. It's very, very extreme. I don't think that when he did it, I don't think he did it willfully. I think he sort of did it just reacting. Because I think that if he would have took a second, 15 seconds, maybe threw him against the wall, maybe pinned him, but he got stabbed. He thought he was going to die. He was scared. He was tired. His head was messed up. He got his head rattled. Everything. It's just, he just reacted.
And he had just escaped from being held captive.
Exactly. So it was, what's that, PSTD, whatever that thing is called, post-traumatic. It all hit him at once. Yeah, it all hit him at once. And Wolverine should have known that. But see, Logan just doesn't care. Logan's like, I'm going to take care of the problem. I'm going to go back home.
Storm Logan is pretty much he's a act now, ask questions later type person.
And Storm is the same way. Storm will do the same damn thing as he does. Maybe not to the extreme, but she'll do it the same way. So my thing is that Wolverine, he walked into that. But again, it was right out of the comic book. I took one look and I was like, oh, I was so happy. I was so happy. Yeah. Not because he got ripped apart, because there's certain scenes in the old series and compared to the new series where just like the original Spider-Man movies, frame by frame, just like the Civil War for Captain America with T'Challa when Black Panther first shows up. Literally, the thing I look for when I'm watching live action, when I'm looking at animation, is to see if they can mimic the comic book page and literally identical.
Okay. Yeah. But I mean, when I saw that, it was just like, wow. But again, it's like Magneto was kind of, I don't blame him for doing it.
Um, real quick, I was gonna say back we were talking about it. Wolverine knows Wolverine. I mean, a lot of people were talking about, well, why didn't Magneto could have done this at all along. I'm like, but Magneto will not hurt another mutant unless, like you said, unless
Right.
it's the absolute last.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows that. It's like Wolverine knows that. So Wolverine can take it to a certain point, but I think he actually was hoping that he knew that Magneto could at minimum take the adamantium out of his skeleton, or at the worst just take his whole fucking skeleton out, like
Mm-hmm.
just to rip the whole fucking skeleton out. But
Right.
he was like he was hoping that he had hit him hard enough to kill him, because he was like, if I don't kill him, I'm fucked. And he he didn't kill him, and he was fucked. And
Right.
yeah, I was like and yeah, that panel was actually from the comic books, was so dope. That one, and in the second episode when he was on trial, when he had the costume with the big M on it, like showing
Mhm.
his arm, showing the guns off. Like that's from a comic, but that's from the cover of a comic as well. And
Okay.
they did a good job of being really true to a lot of scenes where, and making it look like the comics that they're being derived from. So
Mm-hmm.
that's another thing that they did well on here too.
And they threw in the jokes like, everyone's gonna. What do you think we're gonna all wear black leather? I mean, they did some
That
deep
was great.
dives on
That was
that.
a great joke.
That
That
was
was fucking.
awesome.
That was
And the fact
awesome.
that they all had the original B or blue team costumes for each era. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it was really, really good. But the thing is, all the episodes, and yes, I haven't seen episode 10. I watch a lot of animation, American animation. I don't really watch a lot of anime. I'm getting into it more. But what I do know, because I have Crunchyroll and I've watched a few things. Episode 5, the animation, that was probably the most perfect non-American type style animation that I have seen in my entire life. The cut scenes, like, was like Sailor Moon
Yeah.
with the disco, and with him and Rogue dancing, and the
Mm-hmm.
end with the thing. That entire episode, I could talk 5 hours just about episode 5. Seriously, I mean, it was perfect. And at the end, when she says, "I can't feel you, Cher," I started bawling.
Oh,
Oh, Mark was
heart,
like, "What's wrong?"
heart.
And I told him, he was like, "Nope, nope, I gotta watch it." I mean, that episode right there should be nominated for whatever they nominate animation for. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, my heart. I mean, just like drawing the parallel to freaking WandaVision, like subversive. I was just like, oh,
Mm.
really? Y'all made me remember that shit again? Like, damn.
There
But
was
I
something
mean,
else that reminded me of, and now I can't think of it. But I was like, I've heard. I don't remember. But
it's like that scene, and the scene where Storm lost her powers and she reached up to the skylight and said, "I can't feel the breeze."
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
that took me out. But and it also reminded me. Okay, Lori will get this. You know what that scene with Storm reminded me of?
What?
When Abby Bennett was turned from a witch to a vampire in Vampire Diaries.
Oh, yeah. Yep,
That's what it
yep, yep,
reminded me
yep.
of. It hit me with that same emotional
Yep,
impact.
yep.
Like, this is such a part of who you are, like
Art.
at the core. And then for you to not have access to that, to not,
Just,
like, I was sitting there, it's just like, what do you do after that?
I know. But
Yeah.
God gave me a gift, because about 30 seconds later, they showed Storm at a bar and Forge showed up. So I was like, okay, I'm good now. Forge is one of the two great loves of her life.
Okay.
He just didn't walk in. And those two, I've been waiting to see Forge, real Forge, for years.
Okay.
You got her, you got T'Challa. T'Challa, but for her and Forge, about people going together real bad, Storm and Forge, right there.
Okay. Okay.
And
Yeah.
I saw him, and I was like, oh. I mean, I lost it. I was like, oh, and then in season episode 9, where he sees Beast, they're like, they sort of do almost like the fish bump. Oh, good to have you back on TV. And Forge is wearing his X-Men costume. Oh, I was like, but let me just say this. I don't like him. I hate him. I think he's a wannabe Dracula vampire pimp, but Mr. Sinister, yes. Now that's your villain right there. Oh my goodness, bad pimp costume all you want. I'm like, yes. I was so happy to see him every time he was on screen. Seriously. I mean, and Morph, the updated version of Morph. I mean, I'm watching episode 2, 3 right now, and he just the Easter eggs, like he was battling somebody with Psylocke, and then he was Emma Frost, then he was Blink, and then he goes into this. And I mean, I'm loving Morph. And
that dude changed. I mean, they changed a lot.
Yeah,
because I was like, there was so much going on with that character. I was just like, wait, so is this just their way of kind of just sneaking in other characters that generally don't play in the X-Men universe? Like, oh, we're gonna throw Iron Man in here. We're gonna throw because I was really
they threw Spider-Man in that bitch and they threw Spider-Man in there for no reason. There was absolutely no point. They did not have to do that at all.
You got Cap and Silver Samurai and Zemo.
And Omega Red.
Yes.
And Doom. They brought Dr. Doom in. I was like,
they brought Dr. Doom, yeah.
That's true. They did, yes.
Who is the chick that I'm looking at and I keep thinking she's
that's Madam Hydra. That's Val.
Oh,
that's yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Because I was like, she was reminding me of what's her name from Mortal Kombat.
Oh, that was Psylocke. You talking about Psylocke?
Yeah.
Shiva.
Oh, wait. That's that character that
was that the
Olivia Munn
plays. Who are you talking about?
Yes, that's Psylocke.
Who are you talking about?
She's the one she has on the little purple jumpsuit. She looks like Melina and the.
Oh, okay.
That's
Psylocke.
Yeah.
See, I thought you were talking about the woman who was talking to Bastion when Zemo and Doom was.
No,
she's talking
about Betsy.
Yeah, that's Psylocke.
So is that the character? Is that that Olivia Munn?
Yes,
Olivia Munn. Yes,
that she badly portrayed in the movie. Yes, that was her.
She's just.
I mean,
she's part of the Hellfire Club.
Okay.
Oh, we saw Sebastian Shaw
get killed.
Yeah, we saw Sebastian. We saw the Hellfire Club. I was like, yeah, and then
the Hellfire Club
Diamond. Yes,
they're all dead. They're all dead. They're all
I
dead.
don't care.
Like,
well, Emma survived when she went Diamond.
Emma
Diamond.
But we saw Sebastian Shaw. We saw the Hellfire Club.
Yeah, but we didn't see Angel at all.
Yes, no, we did see. We saw Archangel.
We saw Morpheus Angel.
No, we saw Archangel. We didn't see Angel. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But just the Easter eggs alone, the opening credits, and the thing is that what took me out of it for about 30 seconds is I think it's the first episode when Remy is making the beignets and he doesn't have the face mask thing on, and I see the hair, and I was like, "What happened to your hair?" Because he had the rat tail and stuff. But I was like, "What's wrong with his hair?" Because I'm used to seeing the cow and on his hair.
Well, okay, so. About Emma Frost had to have survived. I knew she was going to survive because she still has to be a homewrecker to Scott and Jean.
Oh no, she's
because I missed her. I think.
Yeah, she was in Genosha.
She was in Genosha.
Oh, duh. Yeah, you're right.
They found her, and it was another way they snuck in the secondary mutation.
Right, with the whole thing.
Okay.
Emma actually has run the Xavier school for a while, plus she has her offshoot school, and she has the cuckolds.
Emma has done a lot of things.
A lot of things. A lot of people. A lot of men.
Done a lot of people.
Yeah.
She's done a lot.
Yeah,
leave it at that.
She even messes with Jean a whole lot.
She showed Bobby Drake that he was a Omega level mutant.
That's true. Yeah, she did. Yeah. No,
he was like,
Emma's pretty big.
She took over his body and she was doing crazy things. He was like, "Wait, I can do that." He's like, "Dude, you are not an ice person. You actually manipulate heat energy." Oh. So anyway.
Yeah, no, Emma can be a serious problem if given the right amount of incentive. And guys, Goblin Queen, Madeline Pryor. I did not see that coming.
That whole episode creeped me the fuck out. Like you're not gonna have Magneto and Rogue in there intertwining their skin and their hands, and I was like, oh goddamn, no,
I felt like Gambit. I can't unsee that. I was like,
it made me think of the Deathly Hallows. Was it Deathly Hallows?
Yes, Hermione and Harry. Yes, yes. Like, oh my god, I can never get that image out of my head because like I said, it was weird.
No, because they had an affair before. They had been together before.
Yeah.
Okay. So this was part of comics.
But I understand that, but the way that they presented that in this show, which I don't know if that's how it was in the comics, it literally was a grooming situation.
Oh, it was.
So it was weird. And then for it to come back later, even though she's obviously a full-grown adult at this point, it was still weird to me. And then I will say this for her character. I love Rogue's character in this show. However, I felt a little bit offended about her treatment of Remy, and then the way she was like so pissed off and upset after he died. Like, up until Genosha was attacked, this man was thinking you were gonna go be with Magneto and you didn't want him. And now all of a sudden that now he's dead, it's like Remy this, Gambit. I was like, bitch, you didn't treat him well when he was here. And now you have this survivor's guilt, which I understand she loves him. Yes. And she realized a little bit late that, oh, you know what? Even though I like what we got going on here, that's where I want to be.
Monica?
But what, Lord? What?
She was getting late. Ignore it, move on.
And she you have to realize this. Magneto's able to touch her.
Yeah,
and I understand that.
Magnus was giving her something no one else could give her.
And I understand that. But for you to be all Remy after he is dead, miss me with that bullshit. You should have been Remy. Like, she really got on my nerves with that, because I was just kind of like, because even while she's sitting here doing all of this in Gambit's name, anytime Magneto showed up, when she realized Magneto had come out of the little psychic thing that him and Charles was in, did you see the way her face lit up? I was like, you know what?
Look, she went right back to his side. She was never not going to go with Charles. She was always going to go with Magneto.
Okay, see, this is the great Joni Mitchell once said, don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone?
Exactly.
It's like you bury Remy low, then pick up and go with Magneto. Ooh, pop, pop, pop. Okay, but anyway, I digress. Wait. Okay, for real, let's talk about wokeness for a second. So, this show leaned into, I was so happy that they leaned into everything that would make someone who even uttered the word woke with a sneer and make them just die inside and shrivel up.
X-Men has been doing that for decades.
I realize that, and they showed that by throwing so many parallels in it. It's like the relationship with Roberto and his mom was basically a mother and her gay son.
Right.
And because I mean, even they showed when he told her, was when he came out, she was like, finally. You're like, we know. It's like, I mean, she basically said, you think we just thought that he was your friend all this time?
And like, then she turned around and sold him out to the Sentinels, just like
sold his ass out. Yeah. Basically. So they basically lived in Texas. But it's like, I was like, so also it's like everything that Magneto said, it's like the thing I love, like the rights parallels. Okay, now we're talking about it. God damn it, the fucking Shi'ar MAGA shit. That bitch. Oh my god! Like if she calls Earthlings the N-word one more motherfucking time, I swear to God.
That's literally what it was, wasn't it?
That's exactly what she was doing. Mm-hmm. She was like those little Negroes down there on that in that ghetto planet.
In the ghetto part of the universe.
Yeah. I was like, bitch.
Did you really just call it what?
She straight called everybody on Earth the N-word, like straight up. I was just
But
like,
at the same time, okay, here we go again. I can't really say that I blame her for the way that she was acting, because how you gonna take this person who just came from a whole other planet and all of a sudden he's supposed to, like, you ain't been here a year and you supposed to become the ruler of, like, what we doing at?
yeah, I mean, this is like a grander scale of me and Michelle's relationship. I digress. Not even going there right now. Okay, so as
I
I was
hate you
saying,
right now. I hate you. I
okay,
hate you.
but it's like, I mean, that really was like, I mean, they basically, and he said it. He actually said like, oh, so you're gonna, now we're saying the quiet part out loud. I was like,
Right,
oh, they're
right.
leaning
Mm-hmm.
into this. I was like, oh, I love this. But yeah, I thought they did a really good job of being just heavy-handed enough without just saying that we're talking about gay rights, or we're talking about racial shit. And it's like, but like putting it where they're like, oh, okay, cool. But
And I
I
mean, you
really
you
like
kind of knew they were gonna do it, because that's kind of what they do. Like
hmm
those real life parallels
yeah.
to social issues have always been there. That's why even with I won't even say, yeah, I would say maybe phase 4 on up in the MCU, all the different shows or movies that have come out and people have been screaming woke, woke, woke. I'm like, have y'all not been reading the X-Men since
Yeah.
way
What
when?
is it? The same people that listen to Rage Against the Machine are like, what are they talking about again? Like, yeah, these people, I mean, it's like they just like the flashy, colorful things and don't pay attention to what's going on underneath. It's just like people singing Born in the USA thinking it's a positive song when it's really about broke people in America and how they're struggling. And it's like they're not getting it at all. So,
Right.
they did a good job of making that look, covering that and making it look good. And shout out to them for actually showing two things that they really didn't show that much in the original, namely blood with Wolverine putting his claws through Magneto's chest and blatantly killing somebody, which Rogue did with Bolivar Trask, dropping him
Right.
off a fucking rooftop
Which actually did not work out so great for her.
at all. Like,
But the
No,
fact
no,
that she did
but it
that,
was
it was
good
like,
though.
it
Good.
right,
same share. Whoop. I was like,
But
right.
no, my throwing Cap's shield into the mountains. Now that was petty.
Oh yeah, so you had stepped away when we talked about that.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no, that's fine. That was one of the funniest parts. But yeah, when she did that, I was looking at the TV screen like, wait, what did I just like? Did she do that on purpose? Oh, she really did that on purpose. And I was just
yep.
like, oh yeah, maybe she's
Drop.
Well, yeah,
maybe she's a little more like Magneto than I thought she was.
well, you
Right,
have to
exactly.
understand that for Rogue in her early life, when her family kicked her out and she got adopted by Mystique, Mystique basically trained her to be with the Brotherhood and with Magneto, so she was taught early on anything goes. And also don't forget, she actually absorbed the powers of Binary or Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel, so she still has some of that alien kind of stuff in her too, because she put her in the original X-Men. They'd have an episode where she absorbs her powers and she's in a coma, the Miss Marvel. So or Binary. So she's got all those things running around in her head to begin with. So she was basically trained by Mystique. So when you see Rogue go dark, it's not a surprise because that was all she knew for so very, very long until she found her own way. So I'm not surprised she did it, but man, it did look good, did it though?
Yeah, it looked good.
So,
yeah, but I was just kind of like, I was sitting there looking at TV like, yo, like, she just really killed him in cold blood. Okay.
Yep. Just drop.
Right. Okay, so we've been kind of giving our opinions about just like I said, everything were all over the place. Let's talk about the story a little bit. And I'm going to like give this over to you comic book people, because I'm going to admit some of what was going on, I was lost because I don't know the background of like, I had never heard of Bastion until this show. I had heard of Mr. Sinister, but never knew anything about their storylines and who they are. Now I do kind of remember, I think I was sitting here like, why do the Sentinels sound familiar? So we dealt with Sentinels in the First Class movies, didn't we? And the Road Cut, right? Is that what was hunting them down?
Yes.
Okay. Because I was like, I know I'm familiar with that story a little bit, but I didn't remember reading it in the comics. I was like, where did I hear that? And that was, I think, one of the things that made me say, hey, let me go back and rewatch these X-Men movies, because I haven't watched the majority of those movies
in a while,
probably since they came, especially like the newer ones, the First Class and the Phoenix stuff. I haven't watched any of that stuff since they came out.
Then what storylines from the comics do you remember?
I see, that's the thing. I don't remember any specific storyline. I just remember like,
because Sentinels was a big chunk of it. Sentinels were a big chunk of X-Men storyline.
Okay. So I may have read some of the stuff. I do remember reading a lot about the Phoenix, Jean Grey, her storyline.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think. So I read some of the X-Men. I read some of X Factor, and I believe I read some of, I think it's Excalibur.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So I remember reading some of those, but like I said, that was so long ago. I just don't remember any of the storylines. And then after a while, I don't want to say I got bored with them, but this was like right around the time I started reading scary stories and horror. So I switched from like X-Men comics to Boris Karloff.
Okay. Miss, I don't like horror, but anyway.
Well, I've always said I don't like it the older I get, because my imagination is so active. Like, I'll read stuff and I will go to sleep and I will literally visualize everything I'm reading, or I will re-visualize the story like a movie or TV show. And it freaks me out because I have very vivid dreams and a very vivid imagination. So when it gets to a certain threshold with horror, I just can't do it anymore. So, and it's just as I get older.
I can only do vampire stuff. I can't do anything else.
I
can't do zombies, werewolves, just vampire, and I don't know, it's the weirdest thing.
Yeah. So generally speaking, this series picks up after the events of the original X-Men animated series, when Xavier appears to have been assassinated by, was it Henry Gyrick?
Henry Gyrick, yeah.
Yeah. And so, and so here we are picking up the pieces of that. But of course we know that he isn't dead. He was actually taken off by the Shi'ar Empire.
Okay. Oh, okay. See, again, because I didn't watch the original and I didn't think to watch it before this came out, I didn't know that was what happened. So it's like when he shows up there in this series, I was like, oh, he's not dead. And then I remember, what's her name? Is it Elandra?
Elandra.
I remember her from the comics. I remember their little relationship. So I was like, oh, okay, this is something that's a little familiar, but yeah, now, I didn't realize that he wasn't dead until.
Do you remember when you were watching that episode, they had the guy Guardian, and then they had the other guy on there with Leandra and all of the Shi'ar? One of those is Scott's brother.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Sorry about that.
Vulcan.
Vulcan is his brother.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. So yeah, I didn't know that he wasn't actually like, well, I kind of figured he wasn't dead because Charles just has a way of not dying. So
right. Most X-Men have a way of dying.
This is true too. Yes. Which I will say is why I was very surprised that we got all the way to episode 10 and Remy didn't show back up. I was like, wait, so he's like
wait
dead.
for it. Wait for it.
Oh, okay.
Well,
You saw
see-
you saw the end credit scene, right?
Mhm,
With
mhm.
with him with
Well-
Apocalypse with the card.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's why I was asking, because there's two different schools of thought with Remy. Half the comic book, unconfirmed, is Remy is actually a Summers brother. T.C. Scott's brother. That's one.
I think I have
theory.
heard that rumor. Yes,
Right.
I've heard that before.
And then the other is that the reason why Bishop is so pissed off is that Remy in the future caused the downfall of the X-Men, so they're gung-ho to kill him in the present.
No.
Yes? Did I get it backwards?
No. Bishop was looking for the witness.
Right, the witness. That's right, the witness.
And
that's
he
right.
thought the witness was because all the X-Men are most of the X-Men are dead in the future.
Are dead, and Gambit they had a
And
big part of that.
they think it was the rumors they had was that it was Gambit because he was the witness.
Right. Yeah.
I thought he came back to prevent Gambit from killing the president.
That was one storyline a long time ago, but they discarded that.
Like for the cartoon. I'm talking about for the cartoon.
Right.
Like he
they
came
did.
back
They did do an episode.
He came back and saw Remy, and he was like, "That's him. That's the one that caused."
That was an X-Men Evolution. That's an Evolution.
That's
a different series.
That's a different series.
Oh,
but
wait.
Really?
Okay, I think I may have read a little bit of that too, but
yeah,
okay.
That's an X-Men Evolution. But basically, Gambit gets shot into the future, and he's the one that they blame for basically screwing up all mutant kind is Remy.
Yeah.
Because he's the one that shot the gun, supposedly.
Okay.
Yeah, I could.
So Remy could be in the future with Bishop and Cable.
But basically the whole season has been sort of like this buildup of Bastion being behind everything. I think we're supposed to think that it was Sinister behind all the stuff that was happening.
Right.
But it was actually Bastion behind all this happening. Sebastian, as he's known, is really the culmination. He's sort of like a combination of Nimrod, who's like the ultimate sentinel from the future,
right?
And Master Mold,
right?
Who's the ultimate sentinel of the present,
right?
He's sort of a human version of the merging of those two things. That's why he has this innate hate of mutants.
I don't think they portrayed it as clearly as they could have for non X-Men fans watching the episodes.
No, they just kind of there was a blob went into his dad and he got her pregnant and boom, Bastion.
Yeah.
And then and then there's Cassandra. So they didn't go into that part either. So Charles Xavier has a crazy dead / twin phantom ghost sister who basically caused hell in Genosha.
Don't worry about that. Wait, just wait
until Deadpool, because she's in Deadpool, right?
Okay,
yeah, she's in
Deadpool
Deadpool,
there.
Right?
Yeah, we'll pick it up there. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll get there. Yeah, we'll talk about that next month.
Not there yet. So basically, that's his host. The storyline of his season is basically Bastion, which sort of mirrors what it was like in the comic book. Because for a while, they didn't really know who Bastion was and why he was doing the things he was doing, and then you find out later.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily as familiar with Bastion as I was more familiar with Nimrod and like the other Sentinels than Bastion.
Master Mold. Yeah.
Master Mold, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's just like holy fuck that scene. Like the whole Genosha episode was just like episode 5 was just like so.
Yeah. But the cool thing about this though is I really think that all of this this was a way to bring us back, ease us in, and to also sort of set up other things. Like it was very smart of them not to do Apocalypse because I think they want to kind of do him right this time.
Yeah.
I think they want to do Age of Apocalypse. It feels like
please let me answer.
And the thing is, the way they're gonna get there is it's gonna be interesting to see how they do it because everyone thought they were gonna do Onslaught, but if people remember, it was a while before Onslaught came after the adamantium was ripped out of Wolverine.
True.
It was still a minute because we still had to go through Apocalypse coming back.
Yeah,
After
but
that.
that
Like-
apocalypse stuff is
Yeah,
gonna be
there's a
good.
whole thing with
Yeah.
Apocalypse
right, but that
before
but
we
when
get
they,
to before
but
we get
it's
to
gonna
Onslaught.
be but the apocalypse stuff is gonna be good.
Yeah, and
It's good,
that's
good.
so they got to build up Apocalypse,
Mhm.
and then we're gonna get Onslaught, and then we're gonna get Age of Apocalypse.
Okay.
Yeah, but
So you're talking
in between there, don't be surprised if Gambit comes back as one of the Four Horsemen.
Oh,
If they do the Four Horsemen, that's how Gambit's coming back.
yeah, because I think in one of the comic books he was a horse.
He
He's
was
death.
one of the. He
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
death.
he's
Yeah.
death.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And
that's
Wolverine-
probably going to be how, because he
And that's-
becomes Apocalypse turns him into one, and then after they defeat Apocalypse, they somehow turn him back into Remy.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's probably how it's gonna be.
That whole apocalypse thing. There's a whole.
They did the same storyline with Angel.
Yeah,
or
they did it with
Archangel.
Angel.
It's
Yeah,
the
a
same
few times.
storyline.
Yeah, with
And
Angel.
Wolverine is going to get a similar storyline as well because he becomes War.
That's true.
Or
Yes.
Yeah, because he's
Now-
going to be feral. Now he doesn't have the adamantium in his
Adam,
skeleton.
he's gonna
He'll be
go-
feral.
Yeah,
He's
that's
gonna
what
be
I was
feral.
about to ask. So he's basically gone back to pre-adamantium Logan.
Right.
Like he can
Yeah.
still heal.
Right.
Right.
That's it. Yeah, and he's got the bones, but that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's gonna be wild as fuck. Like
He's gonna be
like
crazy.
feral Wolverine is just ridiculous.
It's insane. It's
And his healing factor is like almost instantaneous.
right. Yeah.
Right now.
Sort of like they did some of the live.
It's like
action.
in Logan. Remember the clone in Logan?
Right.
It's basically that, but hairier.
Yeah, it's 23 to Harry. Now let me ask you this, because this is something we saw Mojo World. Okay, were
Mhm.
we upset that we didn't see anything of the Savage Lands?
No.
Anyway,
Because I kind of expected to see even a glimpse. We saw nothing of the Savage Lands.
No. Savage Lands is
Savage
that's
Lands.
a very
They weren't going to
niche,
do that.
specific
They didn't have time.
thing.
The way
They
they
spent,
set that up,
6 episodes in the original in the Savage Lands with
Yeah.
Sakara and all the rest of them.
They're
I-
not going to
they
go.
only
They're
gave
not
us
going to
half
go
an
back to
episode.
that.
They didn't have time.
They're not going
Yeah.
to go back to
Do
that.
we know? Has it been renewed? I can't
Mhm.
remember.
Yeah, for a second season, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, they've
Okay.
already written, and the second season is already written. They're writing season 3. Season 2 is already
Okay.
in the
Yeah.
can.
I was trying to remember. I thought I remembered reading that somewhere, but there's been so much renewal news as far as like, especially like what is it that what else did
Agatha.
they
Oh no, never mind.
Well, they
Harkness
just
thing. Yeah.
put out Agatha stuff. Oh, Invincible, I think, got renewed for 2
Yeah,
additional
got
seasons.
renewed. The boys got renewed.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's been a lot of news. So I couldn't remember if this one had actually been renewed. But okay, so going back to the story with Bastion and Mr. Sinister. Okay, let's start with the Mr. Sinister thing first, because the whole clone storyline with Jean Grey was just what the fuck? I was like, wait. So so which one had the baby? Oh, this one had the baby, and but neither one of them knows what, like, they don't know whose memories are. That was just so
it gets messier.
I believe it.
In the future, Scott and Jean actually raise Cable until he's 12 years old. Then they have offshoot children of alternate timeline. There's Rachel Gray. Rebecca or Rachel Gray.
Rachel
There's
Summers.
Rachel Summers. There's Gray. There's a couple other brothers and sisters. Then they like fake that we don't know. Then the Cable reveals that he knew that they were his parents. He calls it Red, and what was the other guy? Red and something else as his parents. There's the whole thing with her being the Goblin Queen and Sinister, and with her not knowing. I mean, there's like 19 other Summers kids that's going to come after this. Okay, it's just a whole big thing. Look at Anthony laughing because you know I'm right. But the thing is, basically, Madeline is the mother, and Cyclops is the father, and Jean is basically the angry, pissed off a stepmom.
But and you know what? That was the weird thing about that, because I get why she's upset, but again, if this man has been living with this clone. It's, I mean, and literally it's a clone. It's a clone. So it's like, how is he supposed to know? But then that made me think, because one of the reasons why I stopped watching The Flash on the CW was because Iris was in that mirror world.
Oh God!
That other version of her living with Barry, and I was like, "How do you not know that's not your wife?" And then I watched this episode, and I'm like, "Okay, Barry."
Let's just say that season of Flash was very, very hard to watch.
On top of Jean going into a river and trying to find the memories there and kissing Logan in the fucking river.
Oh God!
Then fucking Scott going into the middle space thinking he was talking to Jean,
on her with
and
Madeline.
then Jean's like, "Excuse me."
Oh no, he wasn't talking to Jean.
Yes, he's talking to Madeline.
Yeah,
he was talking to Madeline.
Was talking to Madeline.
He caught.
In his head, he was with Madeline.
He knew. Right. Yeah, and because he told Jean that it had been going on for about a month.
And he's like, and she's like, "That's our thing." See, here's the thing.
Then Jean booted him from chat. I was like, "Oh shit,"
which was funny as hell. Funny as heck. See, the thing is that Jean. Okay. Let me back up here. The problem with Jean isn't so much that he got somebody else or clone pregnant. It's the fact that she doesn't have memories, because remember when she went Phoenix, she really went Phoenix. So she doesn't have much of a reference point to everyday life, because she's still trying to get herself together, because they actually had her in the bottom of the ocean. They had her in some sort of psychotic or psychosis healing bubble, whatever thing. So when she emerged, and you've got the Goblin Queen, which Sinister, the only reason why Mr. Sinister, created Madeline Pryor is because from jump, he's a geneticist, a mad scientist, and the only reason why old boy did that is that he wanted to see what type of quote unquote experiment would come from a child from Scott Summers and Jean Grey. Yeah. And she was healing as Phoenix, so he created, that's all he cared about, because he started out back in the 1800s. His wife, their son died. That's what sent him on the path to become Mr. Sinister. So he's been obsessed with the whole family, because he looked at the genomes and he was like, "Hey, this family's got it all." Which the thing is the reason why he infected Nathan with the nanotech virus. By the way, still one of the coolest things that they have in Marvel is that the fact that when you see Cable, he looks like he's got the gun, he's got the gray hair, that. What you don't see is that he is an Omega level mutant, but his mutant powers is holding himself together, because if he doesn't, he turns to complete metal because of the nanotech virus. So even though he has the power, he's a telepath, he's got this, he's got all the Summers powers, he's literally spending 60 or 75% of his daily power to hold himself together to stay human. Okay, so when they took over his mind, when you got the side thing, because like you said, that thing doesn't tend not to skip generations. When I say Cable's got juice, Cable's got some juice. Yeah. But the juice is because the nanotech is keeping him alive. That's how he was able to get into his head, because he has to divide what he is in order to live. Now, Goblin Queen. Okay.
Hold on, wait, before you go on. Yeah. One thing that I want to adjust in what you said. Sinister, Nathaniel Essex is his name. Yes. Yeah, he was a geneticist, 1800s. He used to argue with Darwin all the time, whatever.
He was friends with Mengele. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about
that. Make a long story short, he made a deal with this dude named Sabanur, who was Apocalypse. He made a deal with him.
Forgot about that, you're right.
And he realized, I don't know if I can beat this guy myself. So he wanted to create through genetics a weapon that he could defend himself against Apocalypse. Okay. Because he could kind of see where everything was going. Apocalypse believed in survival of the fittest. He was going to basically throw everything in the chaos, and whoever survives will be in charge. Okay. That's Apocalypse's goal. Okay. And so he's like, you know what? This is not good for the things I want to do. So yeah, let me create a mutant, a weapon that would destroy him. And that's what you see him talking about. Yeah, because he had tried to kidnap them before. He's sort of, confusing how he manipulated the lines of the Summers and the Grays to get to where we are today, but he kind of figured it out. He saw what was going on. He knew that Scott Summers and Jean Grey could have whatever he needs if he puts them together. He always failed to kidnap her, but he was able to get some DNA and clone her. And he was like, okay, if I can't kidnap her and do it, I'll just boom.
He's like the version of the Bene Gesserit.
Right. And that's how we get Nathan. He's like, okay, well, now that I have him, I need to have a way to control him. And that's where the viruses to come in as like his fail safe.
Okay.
Yeah. So, because if he couldn't have him, then no one could have him. So he just wanted to make sure. But anyway, sorry, Lori, you kind of left out the part about his vendetta against Apocalypse.
Okay, so I'm trying to remember. I only got to watch the last episode once. What happened to Mr. Sinister in that last episode?
He augments himself.
Phoenix Force took all the DNA that he had gotten from other mutants out of him, and that basically aged him up to where he...
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, he augmented himself with other mutants' DNA.
Okay, yeah. Okay, because I couldn't remember, because I was like, I know he was in that episode, and then he wasn't. And there were two other characters who were in the episode, and then at the end, they weren't. So I was just kind of like, because, after everything happened with Asteroid M and they disappeared, we find out that basically something snatched them and sent them to different times. So you have Scott and Jean in one time, and then you have the rest of them in the other time, but Morph and Wolverine are not there. So I was like, where are they?
Oh, they'll show
up. Because they were on Asteroid M when it disappeared, blew up, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
So they have to be somewhere.
Have to be.
Okay.
Gotta be.
Okay. So the way that y'all are saying that's just stay tuned.
There's some possible outcomes.
Go ahead and talk about the future. Go ahead and talk about the future.
No, there's some possible outcomes. We'll just have to. We'll see how because some of the things they're doing, like with Scott and Jean being with the Ascani clan, is sort of what Lori was talking about. Cyclops and Phoenix miniseries, when Rachel pulled them into the future, but here it looks like it was somebody else pulled them into the future to help raise Cable. So, but in that miniseries, they came when he was an infant and raised him up until he was 12 or 13.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. Again, they're sort of paraphrasing all these stories and combining them together.
Okay. Did you mention his sister who helped him come to the past and the future because she was a cult leader? Did you mention that part?
Yeah, just say Rachel pulled him into the future.
Rachel, yeah.
Is that the person that we met at the end?
Mother Ascani, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that's the one, yeah.
That's Rachel.
Like I said, there's like 19 different kids.
Yeah, the Phoenix Force threw her into the future, and she's there.
She helps him go back. Right.
Okay.
And then in the past, the guy that they saved is Apocalypse.
Right. Yeah, because when he said his name, I was like, why does that sound familiar? And so I went and looked it up, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, that was that horror movie that we had to suffer through after getting that.
That's the only thing you'll remember from that movie.
Allegedly, the first.
I won't talk about Olivia Munn and that costume because I'm a lady and I don't want to talk about.
I'm going to talk about Olivia Munn, period, because I don't like her as an actress. So let's.
Inside Benaire is allegedly the first mutant, supposedly, and they always make this argument that majority of the mutants are his. Because he always calls mutants his children. Because
but in the movie, remember they had a dude with the healing power, which was Wolverine like with the healing.
Okay, we can't. We're not talking about the live action.
I know. But see, the thing with Apocalypse is that even in the 90s cartoon, because when they first, now I discovered X-Men through this cartoon. That was my entry gateway drug. Up until then, all I knew was Iron Man and Thor and Jim. Okay. So when I saw this, I was 20. Okay. And it came out, I was like, oh my God. And I got hooked because it was Chris Claremont. Chris Claremont wrote the X-Men for 17 years. Okay. He wrote the Bible. So every episode was like X-Men 101, X-Men this. That's how I got my X-Men knowledge. So when you got to Apocalypse, I was like, who's this dude? Right? Because I was also watching Gargoyles at the same time. So my mind was, don't laugh at Gargoyles.
You were like here and then here.
And there,
that's a lot.
Right. Try to put it all together. By the way, season 2 of Gargoyles, 56 episodes. Anyway, different story. Yeah, it was 56 episodes for season 2. I'm not kidding. Check it out on Disney Plus. Okay. I'm on episode 24. Yes, I'm watching. But my thing is that when Apocalypse showed up, I was like, who is this bad MF? And I actually said it back in 1990, whatever, because I wasn't even allowed to cuss because I was so at home. But my thing is, he was so badass that everything paled between him and Mr. Sinister. I don't care about the Sentinels. I don't care about the Savage Lands, Mojo, Longshot, the whole Cable, Bishop, the whole Moloch thing. Nothing compared to Apocalypse when his ass showed up. Okay. Nothing. It was just that good. It was like,
and without those awkward shoulder things that they put on Oscar Isaac, I'm still bad about that bullshit. Like that, like what the fuck?
What?
Oh,
I'm talking about the live action movie. Don't worry about it. That shit was that was trash. I was like,
oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
I felt like Vito Corleone. I was like, look how they did my boy.
Well, we won't even get to the transfer power thing. But the thing is that Apocalypse, wasn't there something, and I'm thinking X-Men Evolution, because in X-Men Evolution, they did something with him too, where they had the transference with the ship and the power. The thing of it is that he's nothing, okay, and this is a Vampire Diary reference, he's literally nothing more than a souped-up siphon. Literally. That's all he is.
Oh, okay.
That's literally what Apocalypse is. He's a siphon.
Yeah.
What? I don't understand the reference.
A siphon?
Vampire Diaries, a siphon. They have
I don't remember that.
In the Vampire Diaries, they have witches who don't have power unless they siphon power off of other witches, and then they can do spells and heal and all the other stuff.
I don't know. I think it's a mischaracterization of what Apocalypse is. He's like, he can manipulate his body.
I think. Were you talking about Apocalypse or Sinister?
I think she's
Apocalypse. Sorry.
Okay.
Apocalypse is not really a siphon. He's augmenting himself with celestial. See, he found the celestial ship.
Right, which goes into the externals. Right.
And he co-opted their technology.
Right.
Which is why he's able to do all because honestly, you never hear him in a conversation about Omega level mutants because he's not.
No, he's not.
Okay. He's like an above average immortal.
Right, but I forgot about
who augments himself with celestial technology.
Ship. Right.
And and he's using their technology, and you know how the Celestials are. They actually come for his ass later.
This is true. They do. And I forgot about that. But see, in the original 90s 90s X-Men animation series, they never show you that.
No, they don't.
So when you see it, you just think he's just all powerful. But again, my thing of the siphon, and I'm going off of the reference of the 90s, that's pretty accurate if you don't count the other stuff, what actually is the comic book history.
How many seasons?
He doesn't siphon off people's powers. I'm not trying to argue with you, but like
5? Oh no, we're not arguing.
Didn't do that. He's almost like he's not an omnimorph. Never mind.
Yeah. No. Actually, I know what you're saying. Hanukkah, there was 5 seasons.
Okay, because
you had the first. with Jubilee. The second was the whole thing with the Xavier. The third season. Then the fourth season was the Savage Lands. The fifth season was all Sinister stuff. Yeah, 5 seasons.
Okay. So I guess I'm gonna have to go back and watch those episodes.
They're rough because they cut and paste animation scenes, especially the stuff with Cable and Bishop. They will literally repeat scenes to make it stretch out. I see the face. It's okay.
Maybe I'll just go find a YouTube video. Like Michelle does.
I told you, nostalgia is a hell of a drug.
I only know this because I've watched.
See, I don't have the nostalgia because I didn't watch it in the 90s, so it was. I know. So that might actually make it more rough for me because I'll be looking at it like
now season 2 midway. If you want a good time capsule, there is a Thieves Guild arc with Gambit where he has to go back and his family and the whole thing with Belle, his crazy ex-fiance, and the Thieves Guild. It's a 3-part episode. It's excellent.
Oh, okay, yeah, because they mentioned that.
And they actually showed it
a couple of times.
And Belle and they show because remember Gambit is adopted. He's not actually Cajun. They don't know where Gambit is from. He just showed up on their door. And
he's an orphan.
He's an orphan. They adopted him into the Thieves Guild. And Belle was his fiance, and his dad's horrible. His adopted dad's horrible. But that 3-part episode is all you need to know about Gambit.
Okay.
And Belle, trust me, crazy.
There's a non-canon story where the orphanage that he was found or from was one of the many orphanages run by a certain Nathaniel Exist.
That's right. Yeah, that's where we got the whole beginning of the idea that Gambit might be the 4th Summer's son.
Okay.
Because
actually in that non-canon story, he had different mutants that Sinister had different mutant children that he had put Summer's DNA into.
Right. Because
that was when he was just trying to see what would happen.
What would happen? Because Scott Summers' dad went with this girl and she had another kid off of him, and then she lied about it, and then he had 2 more kids, and they're the others. He had at least one more, Gabriel, and he had I think one more, which was there's like 4 or 5 legal Summers.
No, there's Scott. There's Scott, Alex,
Havoc,
and Gabriel,
and then there's
Adam X.
Adam X.
Who's a half brother.
Right, and then there's supposedly Gambit.
No, that's a non-canon. It was a rumor because the other one was that Shatterstar might be.
Oh, I forgot about Shatterstar. You're right. Yeah,
and yeah.
Let's just say the
Shatterstar really.
Yeah, really.
Shatterstar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just say the Summers has a very, very strange family history.
Okay, but okay. So even though you say that's a non-canon theory, Lori mentioned something about Gambit being overpowered in this series. Do you think that may have something to do with it? Like maybe they're trying to kind of backdoor that in?
No, I think they wanted to give him a glorious purpose.
Ending, right? A glorious purpose ending.
Yeah.
Because
they want to give him a glorious purpose.
Yeah, because because of his power, he should not have been able to charge more than let's say the max of his power level would have been the motorcycle. That's it. He shouldn't have been able to do a Sentinel head.
No, but much less of friggin' the freaking kaiju Sentinel head.
Exactly.
That was like destroying an island.
Well, I mean,
the motorcycle was the max of his power.
It did kind of insert itself into him, so maybe that was just I don't know, like
not that powerful.
Plugging into a power bank. I don't know.
Gambit's power is very, very powerful, but he doesn't get that souped up. The motorcycle should have been the end all and the be all of as much as he could charge. Because remember, small like Jubilee's power is fireworks. Okay, small, combustible. Gambit's is a little bit bigger. That's why he always has the playing cards because he can continuously do it. He can't do Now, if he put his mind to it, maybe he can do a car.
Yeah, but not that master mold. That master mold's
No,
way
not
too
master
big.
mold.
He
No,
he,
not
he
that.
shouldn't have been able to do.
No,
I
not at
mean,
all.
it was good for cinema. It's good for like visuals,
Mhm.
and it's good for setting up him being death as far as one of the four horsemen, and like having that happen. Like cool, and
Okay.
it was cool as fuck to see. I thought it was dope as shit.
Because the way that it appeared to me, and again, me not really knowing much about Gambit's powers, it was almost like watching him. So it's kind of like knowing what we do about Rogue. You know, she touches someone, she can absorb their powers for a little bit, or like what I saw of Bishop in this show, or the new suit that T'Challa had in that Shuri made for him. It's like you take all of this power, you take all of these hits, and you basically convert that energy and you can use it. So that's kind of what I thought was happening with Gambit, because that Sentinel, you know, like I said, drove, what was it, an arm or something through him to kill him. And it's almost like Gambit was taking the energy from that thing, and that's how he was able to do what he did. That's the way it came across to me. Like it wasn't just that he had that power, but it was like his power multiplied because he was drawing from the Sentinel. So that was not what was happening.
No.
I don't think
Okay.
so.
Okay.
I think I mean they just let him charge it up so that he could have his glorious blaze of glory moment.
Okay.
If anything, his adrenaline spiked his power level.
Right.
Okay.
And he probably never the way his powers work, if he charged some, because he has to be in physical contact with what he charges up.
Right.
If he charges up something that large, and it explodes, he's going to die. So
yeah,
he would
and he
never
knew he was going to
do
die in that too.
If he knew he was going to die, he could probably maybe charge up something that large.
Okay.
With enough effort. But knowing that he would be in the blast radius.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was a Hail Mary, but it was a heck of a Hail Mary. Yeah. I mean,
it was.
Like I said, that entire episode should be nominated for just everything about that episode.
Okay, we are talking about Marvel here. So there's multiverses and alternate universes. So there is a version of Gambit that is Omega level.
Right.
A version of Remy that's Omega level in an alternate universe.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier.
Who could do that? Like who literally could charge something without a second thought. He actually became a being of pure energy and can manipulate all forms of energy.
Yeah, and
so,
it was
it's not like it's not possible that he could. It's just that this version of Remy, I don't think he would have ever considered it because he still is a thief and a little bit self-centered and wouldn't want to kill himself, you know, or sacrifice himself in that way.
But see, the alternative is because with the three brothers, the base summers, you've got red with Scott, you got blue, you've got yellow, and Gambit is sort of pinkish. So again, with the eye, and you know what I'm talking about.
Lori, let it go.
Okay,
let it go.
Fine. Sorry, Hanukkah. I kind of went comic book nerd there for a second, and Anthony's laughing because he knows what I was talking about. But all in all, I will say this: I think that the way that they sacrificed Gambit, because I think he will be back in season 2. And I think that he's going to wake up in the future, and we'll get to see all that good Apocalypse Gambit traitor witness thing in the future. I'm excited because if they do what I think they're going to do in season 2, it's going to be good. I mean, good. Because then what we'll get is we'll get to see other X-Men in the future and not just the base group. The thing is that you always have a core set of the X-Men, blue team or A team or B team. But when you go into the future, gold team. But when you get into the future, that line that Morph had great, only Wolverine is the only one to be around. That's true because when they go into the future, the only X-Men that's still around is Wolverine. and he's not that old. So he has a whole new team. And that whole team is the ones that does all the stuff in the future. And you get to see a different skill set because of the way that it is. And with Gambit in there, I'm trying to remember if they actually meet. I don't think they do. I think they hear about each other, but I don't think they actually meet. But when they all get like the whole prison thing or the whole thing with Bishop and Cable and all of that, you get a lot of different things because, see, the reason they got Sunspot is that they're going to bring an X-Force, okay, next season, I believe. The other thing is that they're going to bring an X-Force because they had, trying to think, did they have Kitty at all this season? I can't remember.
No.
Okay, well then the next season will be Kitty, and we didn't have Colossus. Right. There's
Did Morph turn into Colossus at one point?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he did.
Because I was gonna say I saw Colossus, but yeah, you're right. Okay.
But see, you've got X Factor, X Force, X Extreme,
Excalibur.
You've got 19 other X teams.
Right.
That you can bring into. Look, the reason why was it? Oh God, it must have been 15 years now. 15 years ago, I walked into my LCS, my local comic book store, and I got upset because I had just gotten paid, and I forget what it was, but I only had a certain amount of money. And I walk up to the counter and I get my comic books, and I got them every Wednesday, and I saw what she had, and I paid for it, and I turned around and I canceled because they had, wait for it, 17 X-Men books that came out in one day. Do you know how much money that is?
Yes. Even 15 years ago, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Man. But yeah. I mean, the X-Men universe is so vast. Like, there's so many characters. There's so many ways that it can go. Like, I mean, they could take one character vein and just extend it. It's like, I mean, fuck. I mean, Namor is technically a mutant. I mean, Scott was the leader of a Phoenix Force with like Namor and like a couple other people on there that had the Phoenix Force. And it's like, because I mean, basically, a lot of people. I kind of see Scott as like the X-Men's version of Cap. Like he's like, I mean, because he's like the goody. He's like the goody two shoes of the group. He's always like straight and narrow, or he's like, what's his name in Dungeons and Dragons, like the Paladin. Like he's just like straight ahead no matter what. Even if there's a rock in front of him.
I was going to say, he doesn't remind me of Cap, because Cap, yes, even though he started out straight and narrow, I'm following orders, at some point, he starts questioning the orders, and it gets to the point where he's like, okay, I'm going to do what's right, regardless of what you tell me I'm supposed to do.
Hanukkah,
I just feel like Scott, you know, and again, the thing that I remember him most from right now are the live action films. And like y'all said at the beginning of this recording, Scott from the live action films, even that didn't feel true to me. I was like, okay, I don't remember Scott being this much of
a wuss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, Cap went left on Civil War, and that felt right for Cap. Scott has never gone left. But when he goes left, he becomes the leader of the Brotherhood, which is Magneto's main crew and the Acolytes. When Scott goes left, Scott goes way left.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw that in this season, which I love. Because like I said, when he went off on the reporter, that's the Scott that I've been waiting to see in every single movie.
I was like, oh,
exactly. He was about it, as they would say. Yeah. And he was fed up because of his son. And you have to understand, I'm not saying he's the worst dad there ever was. I'm saying that he's the dad that never got the chance, and it haunts him. So when he goes into the future, then he gets to redeem himself. But until he gets that chance in the present, he's torn up. Think about it. I don't have kids, but think of it. Your baby's 3 days old, and you got to say goodbye.
And I can't do this.
Exactly.
So like when she was there and she was talking to Nathan telepathically and telling him all this stuff, I was like, this fool really ain't finna show up. And then Bishop comes, gets Nathan, and they disappear. And I was like, this fool really didn't show up.
Exactly.
And then at first, when you get the reveal that Cable is Nathan, when Madeline recognizes him, and I was like, oh, okay. And then that, like, his interaction with her was so different, even in that very brief moment. And then when you see Scott for the first time, completely different. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh, wait. This fool knows that Scott, like, basically was like, oh, I can't do this. I'm just going to send you off to the future and not say goodbye. And I was like, oh, okay, this just makes more sense now.
And you have to understand, when he sees Cable's 60. Okay. Cable is 60.
Okay.
And Scott is still 35.
Right. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, because you see the disdain he gives when he says dad. It's like, that shit is so heavy. Like,
you got a 60-year-old
man.
man.
Too late for a reunion, dad.
Right.
And I was like, are you Logan's kid? Like, you sound just like
sounds like X-23 all day long. But yeah, you have a 60-year-old man who's looking at his 35-year-old father, who in his 35-year-old father, it's been maybe a month since he sent you to the future.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I thought about that and I was just like, talk about your family drama. And then not only that, you also lose the person that is your mother, because you come back to
that tore me up.
You try to warn her. And I think the crazy thing is with Genosha, like, I was seeing the bodies laying on the ground and it just, for a minute,
it didn't register with you.
It didn't click to me that they were dead, because I was like, these are mutants, just shake it off and go kick some ass. And when I saw Jean on the ground, I was like, oh, she's knocked out. And it wasn't until like the end of the episode that I was like, wait, I need to process that. And I literally had to go back and look at it again. And I was like, oh my God, all those people, like Jean, like Madeline Pryor is gone. And this person is gone. And like I said, I was not expecting Gambit to be gone.
The hero. Right.
And then, of course, in the next episode, you see that Magneto is still alive. I'm like,
okay. When he references back to Leech dying, and exactly, and Leech took, if you pay attention, Leech bleached enough of Magneto's power to take him down from Omega level so that Magneto could live. He saved Magneto's life. I know, right? It got me
like that toward me. And then when he says it to Charles, and he was like, I made a promise to this young boy,
his tiny little skull,
that y'all made me break. I was like, there is no coming back for Magneto. I was like, he probably could have overlooked everything else. He probably could have turned the other cheek. He probably could have been like, okay, because of Leech, I was like, y'all ain't getting Magneto on y'all ain't even in the same book anymore, much less being on the same page.
And the war of the story over Leech in the comic books is, of course, is legendary. We all saw the movie, but it's just the fact that Magneto was so, and I'm not going to say magnanimous or open, I'm going to say cared. He cared about Leech. He cared about the Morlocks. Storm did a half-assed job with the Morlocks. But the fact that when he says we're all one race, he meant everyone. See, Charles likes the human-looking pretty. Magneto, it was everybody. Again, now there's a t-shirt going around that says Magneto was right. And I blame Charles for 90% of what happened in this season, because Charles wanted to kiss ass.
No, Charles wanted to kiss Leandra's ass.
Well,
He
I
talk about,
don't
no, I'm
even
just
know if I want to say it was that he wanted to kiss ass. It to me, it feels like he wanted to be right.
Okay,
Or
I'll give you
more
that. I'll give you that. I will give you that.
it felt like he wanted to be right. He wanted it to be known that this is the course that I have laid out, and this is the course that's best for everyone. Like, I understand Charles is powerful, but who made you the voice of all mutants in that sense? And in that way, I understand what Magneto is saying. Magneto is like, look, you claim you want what's best for the mutants, but your top priority is always the humans. You can't do both. I mean, it's a very slippery slope to try to balance those two things. But like when you are seeing time and time and time and time again that the humans are not going to relent, that they're like, it's like no matter what was it Magneto said, the X-Men have used their extraordinary powers to save you all time and time again, and you don't appreciate it. Like, you still, the moment something wrong happens, y'all are blaming the mutants, y'all are blaming the X-Men. The X-Men has, like, yeah, I would proudly sport a Magneto was right t-shirt, because it's kind of like, even with him supposedly being the bad guy, when the bad guy is making you question what the quote unquote good people are doing. Man.
All I'm going to say is that somebody that might actually be a prodigy or a child of his gets very upset, and she's wearing her red Scarlet Witch costume, and she stands up and says, "No more mutants."
Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, and
House of M. That's all I'm saying.
It really does. Especially
you see why Wanda did that for House of M, because she was going off of what her father, because she saw between being Avengers and being a mutant, she saw that Magneto was right.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like going back to the whole Thanos was right thing too. Like, you have the right idea for something, is just that your execution in bringing that about not the greatest. But again, in Magneto's case, in this season, I can't say I blame him for anything he did, because again, you can only turn the other cheek so many times until you can't keep poking the bear. It's like you can do this and do this and do this and do this, and he can sit here just like this. But the minute you come to a place that he built for his kind, for them to live in peace, for them to live freely, for them to be safe being the operative word. And all of that is taken away in the matter of minutes, and thousands of people are dead.
A little over 4,000 seconds. Yep.
Well, and the thing is at the end, and guys, correct my math if I'm wrong, but at the end of House of M, when Wanda says no more mutants, that she literally cuts it down to, what was it, 199, 198 mutants in the entire world?
Something like that.
Yeah, she literally said, we're going to cut it down to the gene pool is going to be this. Because she went a step further than her father. And her math said, okay, you have mutants, you have humans, you have this problems. The reason she said no more mutants, other than the fact that her ghost, real life, imaginary / real children vision, that we want to get into Wicked and Hopefully, the thing is, she had enough of their BS. And she had enough of the fact that for years, they've been dictated by this rule, they've been dictated by that rule, and she had enough. Now, was she crazy? this is one of the times when she actually was literally insane, but that's neither here nor there. The thing of it is that she had the right idea. You're laughing at me, Anthony. I see you laughing.
She is crazy.
I said this was one of the times she was crazy.
One of the times? Was there a time when she was actually sane?
When she first had those vision / children, she was saying until they killed the nanny, but that's a different story. But my thing is that Wanda recognized intrinsically and maybe externally that Charles Xavier, excuse my language, was full of bullshit. That you can't, because she was an Avenger, because she was married to a robot, and they had children, we can get into that later. The fact that, I'm just saying, the fact that she recognized that everything that the mutants have been fighting for, have been going through, have been doing, was maybe self-serving for one part, Xavier, and the other part, you got the people who actually want to change. Cyclops, Wolverine to a certain extent, Storm, maybe Rogue, maybe Kitty, those group, maybe Emma, okay? But at the end of the day, they were full of shit. Excuse my language. So when she said no more mutants, she meant it. And she was powerful enough to wipe out everybody except for 200 people. Start over again. But the thing is that this season, and then I gotta go because it's getting late. My thing is that it was an excellent season. Episode 5 gutted me. It was also one of the best episodes of animation I've ever seen in my entire life. When I say that this kept the promise, and this kept the anticipation, and it lived up to the hype. When I watched the very last episode of the X-Men, almost 25, 30 years ago, wherever it was, I cried because it was that good. And then to see it at age 52, because like I said, I was 20 when it started. I am now 52. And I have watched the entire X-Men 90 series at least 3 or 4 times since I originally watched it in various ways. When I say it was a perfect season, when I say it gave me my life, I didn't want it to end. I'm like, okay, when can we get the next season? Because it's just that good. And we only got 10 episodes out of the real world. If it wasn't post-pandemic, we would have gotten 13, maybe 15, 16 episodes. But we got 10 because that's how TV is these days. But when I say that this was the ish, hands down, my score, 10 out of 10.
Yeah. I still love this. Real quick, before we go, shout out to Doctor Strange operating when the lights came back on in the last episode. I didn't even think that. I mean, he was operating in his Doctor Strange garb. I was like, huh.
Yeah, because he had the little
he had the shield. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, huh, interesting.
And he was a doctor.
Oh, shout out to our podcast mate Casey for putting this in my ear, and I could not. That the X-Men themes is basically note for note. I'm Your Baby Tonight by Whitney Houston.
No.
I actually was singing it when I watched this episode.
I did.
Was like, whatever
she put it in chat, and I was like, "Why did you do that to me?"
Okay,
I can't even hear it. I can't even hear the theme song anymore.
Now
I cannot even hear the
back.
theme song anymore.
Where was that written, Mike? Because you're the music head.
Somebody posted it on TikTok. And
I don't do TikTok. I can't.
Okay, but we posted it in the group chat.
It's in chat. It's in chat.
Posted the video.
Casey posted it.
So if you listen to it, like especially like I was like, wait.
Okay, see.
What?
Now
because it's just like she posted it, and it's like
go in tomorrow. I gotta look at stuff that I need to have my mind clear. Now I'm like,
Lori,
what?
But Lori, it's like the X-Men graphics with "I'm Your Baby Tonight" playing behind it, and it fits.
I
was like, I can't.
You're gonna make me go back. Now I gotta go and I gotta look at and see. Guys, I know it's later than where you're at, but it's 9:00. I still haven't eaten dinner. I'm like, now I gotta watch this. Okay.
Well, the good thing is, it's like less than a minute, so
yeah, it's not that long.
Yeah, you should be good. He should be good.
Also, shout out to Beast simping for Sentinel. I didn't even. I was just like, I was like Logan. I was like, we gotta talk to Beast about his choice of women. Like, come on, man.
Man.
Even after she got EMT'd, he was still sitting there holding her hand like,
Wait,
like
who
baby,
is she?
come back.
Who is she?
She was one of the Sentinels.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Sentinel like she was like that was a specific character, and I was
no.
Oh,
Guys, I got a little upset with Val because Val referenced something that should have been Moya. Because remember, Moya is a mutant who's a time event mutant.
Wait, who?
Moira
McTaggart?
Oh,
yes. Remember, she's a time. Remember, she
was on Genosha.
Yeah, but remember, she's a time event mutant where she can reset time,
No,
and she can be the only one who remembers.
Moira's not a mutant.
I don't think she's a mutant.
Moira's not.
Okay, who's the one that's the time-setting mutant? That's a female. One of them can reset time and is the only one that can remember the events. And whenever her mutant power is that whenever there's the end of society and civilization, she can reset the whole thing, and she's the only one that remembers it. I'm trying to remember who that is. All right, I need to look that up.
It's not Moira McTaggart though, because she's human.
I guess because I was reading it and I'm going, well, that doesn't sound like Moya. Oh, but did anyone catch the cameo of Banshee? I thought I saw Banshee in one of the scenes.
Yeah, yes. I saw Banshee.
He
also saw Alpha Flight. They threw Alpha
Yes,
Flight.
I saw Alpha Flight. Yeah,
oh, jeez.
North
like
Star Fastball Special Puck.
Alpha Flight is that's they're a Canadian team that goes with the X-Men, but Wolverine has history with them.
North Star.
Never mind. She's right.
Moira, yeah, I was just sitting here looking it up, and I was like, oh wait,
Moira is a mutant.
I missed that storyline.
Yeah,
she's a reality warper. Oh,
yeah, she can reset, and she's the only one that remembers that.
Well, that would explain why her son is so freaking powerful.
Exactly, and she has a son with Charles Xavier. Hanukkah.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Target.
All right.
See, this is the bad thing because we're on like hour almost 2.5, 3, and I could talk X-Men the entire night.
Oh, I know.
Okay, so I wanted to get this in before we close out.
Okay.
I didn't say the show was bad. I don't think it's perfect. It's okay. I mean, it's a really good echo and reflection, and a continuation of the previous series from '95. So it's the same as then. It's just that I don't think I don't want to use the word relevant. It's just okay. Like they're bringing back all these old comic book stories that we all remember and near and dear our hearts. The only thing that really bothers me about this is Executioner's Song is probably my favorite X-Men crossover event. And they just kind of the only thing they pull from that is the assassination attempt on Xavier and Cable possibly being Cyclops' son. Okay. But Execution Song, guys.
I forgot about that. You're right.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, you're right. It is. Yeah, I forgot all about that.
And I would have preferred if they had have just done a new series and taken those storylines and did something different, as opposed to continuing those old storylines. Like,
well, the way they're doing things now, now that they see how popular this one is, they could very well do that.
Well, it's popular because people are watching it over and over again because of the introduction.
Oh, would you stop with that?
You know what, Anthony? I'm gonna get you a shirt. I'm gonna get you a shirt that says, "I didn't say I hated it," because that's kind of your tagline now. Instead of no theories, it's like I didn't say I hated it.
It was terrible.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Anthony though. Like like I said, I wasn't as into it at first, and then it kind of got better for me, and I'm interested. Like it's piqued my interest in that I want to go back and watch the older series now and I'm interested to see what they're going to do with the new series. But they're just
watch the Savage Land episodes also.
Savage
Land
not
episodes.
because you know me, I don't halfway do shit. So if I'm gonna go back and watch any old episodes, I'm gonna end up watching the whole thing because
you can text me and call me anytime because I'm gonna have to explain a few things to you about midway through season 1 and season 3. But I'm telling you, there's a reason why people my age, when we saw that they were doing it, got hyped. It was that good back in the day.
Yeah,
it was.
And I remember the hype.
Good. Back in the day, it was amazing.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. It was like everything.
It was awesome. Back in the day.
I hear what you're look. I hear what
you're saying too. I know what the hell he's doing too. When you called me old in the last episode without saying I was old. I remember that shit. Don't think I forgot either.
My husband watches very little TV except for his videos of his watches or whatever. When he walked in and sat down and watched half an episode, I knew it was good because he just doesn't do that anymore, right? He was like, "Who's this? This is good." Yeah, and then he saw Mr. Simmons. He was like, "Hey, I know him," and that was like, "Okay, I'm good."
And that's kind of how I felt watching it because, like I said, it was one of those things where I was like, I didn't even know if I was gonna watch it because, to be honest, I don't watch a lot of animation just because it has to be something to catch my eye. And like I said, maybe it has to do with it being, the old 2D and everything, but something about the tone of the voices just throws me off with older things. It just, like I said, it feels kind of cringy, and it was just kind of like, I don't know if I want to watch and sit through 10 episodes of this type of dialogue.
But it did get better. They got the older voice actors on this. Most of them.
Most of them,
awesome.
And then they got a few. They got a few new ones, like of course Professor X. For me, that's Ross Marquand from The Walking Dead. And
shout out to Ross Marquand for becoming a voiceover god.
Let me tell you, because he's also the voice of Apocalypse.
Yes, and he did an excellent job.
And then Bastion, Theo James. I was just like, hi, Theo.
Oh, I know, right? I mean, just the talent. But see, my husband walks in, he sees Storm, and he does the whole "Winds obey me," and he was doing the whole Storm thing, and I was like, "Don't hate. That's the original. That's the original Storm." Because when first of all, she's over dramatic to begin with, but you have to watch it because she was like, "Winds obey me, hide this." And when she goes in, and that voice actress nailed it.
Let me tell you,
and I love it.
She is very over dramatic.
She doesn't say good morning. She says grand risings, my friends.
Man, shout out to
Alison Seeley Smith. Shout out to the Queen.
Yes, an excellent job.
Yes, her delivery is very over dramatic. And there were times when I was just like, oh my God, is this really how she talks?
Yes.
But at least it wasn't, do you not want to know what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning?
Oh, you had to go there.
Same thing as everything else.
You had to go there. Look, I expect Storm to give this whole soliloquy when she's saying in the morning. That's Storm, okay? If she doesn't give you at least 9 adjectives, 3 adverbs, a noun, and a verb, it's not Storm. That's all.
And a few metaphors.
And, there you go. And alliteration.
Yeah. But none of that dialogue was worse than anything they gave Halle Berry to say in the 3 movies. And on that note, that's it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media, on all the social media at Fandom Hybrid. You can chat with us on our Discord channel. You can watch our videos on our YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.